25 to life is what we give not for murder in this state, but for first-degree murder in this state. Second-degree murder is supposed to be 15 to life. So why should petty larceny and first-degree murder get the same penalties? There isn't a good moral framework for answering that question, and to my mind, the answer is they shouldn't.
Well, there's two parts to the law. The first part says that if you have, and it's considered the two-strike part of the law, if you have one prior serious or violent felony and then commit any felony, you get double the sentence. The three-strike part of the law says if you commit two or more serious or violent felonies and then commit any felony, you will get at a minimum 25 years to life. There's no good time credits, it's 100%, so the first time anybody can be up for parole is after 25 years.
The California Penal Code lists what are deemed violent felonies. It lists what are deemed serious felonies. And California's three strikes law requires that the first two strikes must be violent or serious felonies. What makes California's three strikes law different from every other three strikes law in the country is that the third strike in California doesn't have to be a serious or violent felony.
When we allow the last strike to be any felony, we're broadening the law to include over 400 different crimes. And that includes things like shoplifting, which is petty theft with a prior, grand theft, larceny, fraud.
I was selling dope to supply my own habit. And I wasn't no big time dope dealer. And I would just make 20, 40 bucks here or there. And I just got caught up in it.
The vast majority of three strikers have committed a non-serious, non-violent offense that's triggered the 25 to life sentence.
Am I guilty? Yeah, I am guilty. You know, do I believe I should be put away for the rest of my life and most likely die in prison because I am 47 years old now, just started this term, 2 years into it. Do I believe I should die in here for selling dope? No, I do not.
This was a law that when it was being voted on by the public, all that was talked about was violent criminals, violent criminals, violent criminals. Now 10 years later, we come into our prison system and what do we see? 2/3 of the people locked up under the law are nonviolent offenders.
There's a kid serving 25 years to life for setting fire to a garbage can. You know, that's ridiculous. That's not fair. It's offensive to my sense of justice.
The prior serious and violent felonies can happen anytime. Happened before the three strikes law was passed. So for some of these people, they might have committed prior serious or violent crimes back in the 1950s or 1960s.
Some of these people's priors were 30, 40 years ago. They may have gotten in trouble when they were kids and picked up a drunk driving charge, a DUI.
When the three strikes law was passed, these people woke up the next morning facing the possibility of 25 years to life for even the smallest possession of drugs.
I'm Shockey Del Rio. I'm 26 years old. I'm in for possession, and we're in Centinela State Prison.
Thank you.
Okay.
Tell me about your third strike.
It was simple possession. You know, we had went to court, hired a lawyer, tried to get the best deal. They weren't offering the deal. I received my 2 strikes as a juvenile, so that carried over into my adult life. So we didn't get a deal. Decided on going to trial. Judge told me that he was going to give me one thing, ended up giving me something else. And here I am, 28 to life.
I mean, I feel firmly that the general public did not understand when they supported the three strikes law that, for instance, 2 strikes could come out of one case, or that juvenile strikes would be used in the future, or even what some of the strikes are.
Well, you think that robbery is a severe and serious crime, and that anybody who's going to go to the lengths of committing robbery must be a horrible person. But the reality is that robbery can be as little as someone who goes into a store and attempts to shoplift, but then a guard comes by and catches the person, and the person tries to react and tries to flee. If they try to flee in a way that in any way pushes or shoves the guard, it can now be reclassified as a robbery.
A lot of people don't know that people with petty theft with a prior are going in for 25 years to life. A lot of people don't know that if you forge a check, you can go 25 years to life.
The ads on television were telling us that the three strikes law would take the violent rapist, the predator, the murderer off the streets.
Because I voted for that bill, but it was because I thought it was for violent people, for people that killed, raped, or, you know, big drug dealers.
Radio talk shows, everywhere you went, you heard about the three strikes law as a way to solve the problem. So people went for it.
I think many had no idea what they were voting for. The official ballot argument in favor of what Newsweek magazine has correctly called the toughest law in the nation was very simple. It said 3 strikes keeps career criminals who rape women, molest children, and commit murder behind bars where they belong. What few people realized was that the sweeping nature of the law would put thousands of nonviolent men and women in prison for 25 years to life for crimes as minor as shoplifting, $2.69 worth of AA batteries, aiding and abetting the theft of baby formula and Tylenol.
3 strikes is a law that is designed to target serious and violent repeat felons, people who have shown a propensity to commit the most heinous crimes.
Shoplifting a bottle of aspirin, shoplifting some razor blades.
We have a law that allows someone to commit 2 serious or violent felonies, such as child molestation, rape, murder.
Shoplifting a spare tire, shoplifting a pair of sneakers, or for being the alleged lookout during the sale of a $20 rock of cocaine.
And they get removed from the street before they molest a third child, before they rape another woman.
Of course, we have the opposition out there saying the same thing over and over, that it was for violent crime. And yet, we know that there's many in there. We know that 65% of them, at least, are in there for a non-violent crime.
Who would know that me trying to help my son would help get him 25 years to life?
I see you about to fall. Can't seem to help you at all.
I started going to Tough Love back in the mid-'80s when Shane started doing drugs. And we were told as part of Tough Love that you take a bottom line and you turn them into the police if they're doing something wrong, and they'll take responsibility and they'll quit doing their drugs. In 1990, when he committed residential burglary, which I thought was just stealing for your parents to buy drugs, but they tell me it was residential burglary of my house and my next door neighbors. And he stole from us. I called the police. I asked my neighbors to call the police. They really didn't want to, but I thought that he was going to get some kind of rehabilitation. I thought the police and the courts were going to be there to help me. That's what I thought they were for. I didn't realize that they were just there to prosecute my son and put him in prison. But that's strikes 1 and 2. And 7 years later, in 1996, came strike 3.
He was arrested for aiding and abetting the sale of $20 of cocaine. He was with a friend. The friend had walked to the end 30 feet away from him and sold a $20 rock of cocaine to an undercover officer. My son was standing 30 feet from him, and he had no drugs on him and no drugs in him, but they picked them both up, and he was tried as a co-defendant. They're tried together. But they don't tell a jury in California that it's a 3-strike case. The other co-defendant, he was given a sentence of 4 years and did 2 years in state prison for his hand-to-hand sale of $20 of rock cocaine. And my son was given a sentence of 25 years to life for watching that drug sale.
My tough love has kind of put my son in prison for 25 years minimum. So I have to keep finding a way to try and get my son out of prison, and a lot of others as well.
California mother is fighting to free her only son after she helped put him in jail for life.
We're shooting for 600,000 signatures plus.
I have to work for every step of the way to fix 3 strikes.
Every message I can get and get those people to get out there. I mean, to get out the vote, there's all kinds of things that are going to be coming up in different areas.
The people that are in prison with him are always coming up to him saying, "What's your mom doing now?" And it hurts because, I mean, if there was so many more, we could be doing so much more, but they're counting on us.